Okay, before we get into Predator Bay Update 4, I'm going to let you guys in on a couple of secrets from the aquarium hobby that not many people outside the aquarium hobby know. So the first one is how to, it's widely known that aquarium hobbyists are the most fit, in shape people in the world. And you might wonder, how do you maintain big strong chest, good arms and a round belly? Well, let me show you. Okay. For your arms and your chest, you simply build 1,800-gallon Predator Bay tanks and you carry thousands of pounds of sand and salt from the store to your truck, from your truck to your basement, and then from your basement into your 1,800-gallon Predator Bay tank. It's just that easy. And for the round belly, it's even easier. They come in 16 ounces, they're called a pint, and you simply raise them to your mouth repeatedly. That's worked for me. I've developed this physique over many years. Just kidding. Let's get into Predator Bay. There it is, the final coat of pond armor. And you know what that means? Well, you saw the sand and the salt, so it's getting real now. So it's time for glass installation. That is a shiny, thick coat of pond armor everywhere. Nice and sealed up. No imperfections. I have scoured it, and hopefully I'm not jinxing myself by saying that, but I went pretty crazy. I go crazy on all these tanks, but I went crazy on this one too. So it is, I think we're good. So it is time for glass installation and plumbing. Time to get that plumbing cemented in. It's not a lot of plumbing. We're just coming down here, and we're just going to come over into here, and then we're just going to have to do the pump return plumbing over there. Again, not that much. We're just feeding 2 nozzles. So yeah, Predator Bay is getting close. All right, you know what I always say here, time for me to stop talking and start working. Let's get this glass installed. Oh, it is starting to look like an aquarium. 5 giant pieces of glass are installed, all siliconed in. Oh my gosh, that was a pain in the butt. Moving those big panels and getting them into place without damaging, the pond armor or the final coat was a serious pain in the butt. And I even made a mistake, so I had to correct that. You can see down here on the floor used to be that back center brace, which isn't there anymore. You can see where it's gotten cut off over on that end and cut off over here. That's because the genius that I am, I didn't measure correctly and I couldn't get the glass underneath it for the big panel in the back without cutting that out. So for this panel here, it is too big to bring in from the top, and with that brace in, it was too big to bring in from that side. So the only way to get it in was to bring it under the base and then connect, bring it in straight, flat, just like you see it vertical, and then bring it over, which required cutting out that brace. It's not a huge deal. Obviously, it's cut out and the glass panel is installed, and I can easily put another brace across there. That's no problem at all. And the glass is in, so it's all's well that ends well. But it definitely wasn't fun trying to deal with that in the middle of putting these big panels in, because they were a serious pain. So either I will just go all the way across with a new brace, which would just be slightly higher up, or I might actually integrate it into the bracing system coming front to back. I may just do some cross bracing in between those braces. So rather than have, one single brace across the back, that'll spread that out and I'll have more of a grid. And that might actually work better for the tops, because the sharks are big and they're strong, so it would probably be better to have more framing structure up here to put those tops on and to keep them locked into place. I already have a plan to, normally I put something flat and the tops sit on it, but with this one I want to have the tops sandwiched in, so there's something here and something here, and then the tops slide in. So that way, if the sharks push up on it, it's going to hit the top part that's holding it in. I've got these screw-in laminated hooks, which I think might work for that. But at any rate, we'll get to that when the time comes. So what we're doing right now is we are letting lots and lots of silicone cure. And when I say lots, I mean that is like not even a quarter of all that was used. Yeah, there's I don't know, there's 50 or 60 tubes of silicone in here. It's crazy, but now's the time to go crazy. So overkill, that is crazy overkill. So I actually almost had another mistake. So on the front panels, really every panel, I measured so precisely that I didn't leave myself a whole lot of room for error. So, you know, like where the panels meet up, I mean, they really meet up. They are very close. So much so that I'm able to put a bead of silicone in between all the panels and actually create a complete section there where there's no, it's all just glass and silicone. There's no space in between for the water to go between panel and actually get to the pond arbor behind it. So, you know, since it worked out in the end, it's all good. And that's going to give me, you know, one heck of a nice seal over there. But man, it was close. I was definitely a little bit worried, as well as this back piece here. I mean, it is right up against each side. So much so that I had to take off the bulkhead and put it back. I mean, there was no margin for error. I mean, that thing, it has literally just enough of a gap so that it's not being pinched by the material. There's enough, you know, that's the bigger gap over here with the silicone, and that's not a lot. And then over on this side, it is less. I mean, it is right there. So, at any rate, I might change the part where I say the fiberglassing is my least favorite part. I might switch it to installing 5 giant glass panels because, you know, like the 600 gallon had a single panel, and there's a difference between putting 5 of these beasts on here and versus 1. But they are here. As you can see, the silicone is cured, and it's time to do some plumbing and some water fill tests. So it just got real. This sucker's getting ready to get water. All right, well, I'm pumped, and I need to get back to doing plumbing work because, you know, once we get the water in here, we got to turn on the plumbing. We got to see if the filter works. I mean, is the tank going to leak? Is this filter system going to leak? I mean, there's a lot of testing to go. You know, this is a beast. So, yeah, work is cut out for us. All right, on to plumbing. All right, exciting times in the fish basement. Predator Bay is ready for the water test. All the silicone should be cured from putting in the glass panels. As you can see, I'm taking some measurements for the new top bracing system. I have the old Python dangling in the tank, and I have completed the drain plumbing. All cemented in, all hung up, bracketed, and into the sump. So we're getting really, really close. So the drain plumbing is done. The water fill test is getting ready to commence, and while it's filling, I'm going to work on the return plumbing. Okay, let's get some water in here. Okay, always a moment of truth. The water is going in. As you can see, this isn't a whole heck of a lot of water, and it would take a long time to fill up this tank if we just had this. So I'm going to put the camera down, and I'm going to start another hose running and speed this up. All right, be honest, how many of you guys are placing bets on whether this leaks? All right, so far so good. We've got, I don't know, I want to call that maybe a 1/6 of the way or something like that, but I just called this first amount of water here the sanity check. You know, that obviously the whole bottom of the tank's got 6 inches or more water in it, and so far so good. Everything's looking tight around the seams, no leaks yet, so keep filling. All right, we're halfway full, still no leaks. Knock on tank. It's also giving me the time to put in 2 of the supports up on the top here. Well, still ratcheting in that lag bolt right there, but I figured since I'm filling it up, I might as well get a couple of supports in, just in case. I also was able to go ahead and do the plumbing for the return. So we're all mocked up. This needs to be cemented in. For this first test fill, I will not be going into the drain. It's kind of later in the evening, and that's something where when I run the full system, I want to be here to monitor it. So we'll get the tank filled up to just below the the drains, and then we'll let it sit for a few days. And I'll finish the plumbing, finish the braces, start getting the covers, and then we will run it through the whole system and see if we keep our luck going with the sump and you know, no leaks. All right, back to filling. All right, so far so good. It's been holding water now for about 5 hours. It is filled up at least 80% of the way. I basically just have it underneath the bulkheads over there. And time to let it sit. It's gonna sit here for a minimum 3 days. But I think what I will do is, rather than just have the tank sit for 3 days with water and then start the filtration, I will actually go ahead and start the filtration once I get the return cemented in, or at least run it part of the time, like when I'm here. So if I'm at work, I'll turn it off, but then when I'm home, I'll go ahead and run it, and that'll allow me to keep an eye on the sump and make sure everything down there is going good as well, because we have, you know, a little bit more plumbing than most tanks, and also we have the triple runway style of the sump, so each one of those has double bulkheads connecting all of those up. So it's a lot more plumbing than the typical sump. So it needs to be tested out and put through the same paces as the aquarium. So we need to water test the aquarium, and we need to water test the filtration. Well, this is why we do water tests. So after 7 hours, we've developed a leak. Slow leak down here at the bottom. So it is draining right now, and we're gonna have to fix that. This back panel is gonna have to come off and see what the problem is. First step is just to get it drained out and take a close look and see, you know, what's going on with the silicone there. See how bad it is, and if it's either where if I can't tell, or you know, if it's bad, then cut the panel out, clean the silicone off, and have to redo it. So definitely a setback, unfortunately, but you know, that's what the fill test is for, right? It's to find those leaks. And you know, for 5 hours, or for 7 hours, well, sometime between 5 and 7 hours this started, but I was going around checking all the seams with my fingers after for the first 5 hours, and that was dry. So sometime between 5 and 7, there we go. All right, frustrating, but like I said, this is why we do the fill test. We catch this now and we fix it, and we move forward. All right, unfortunately, an aquarium has to be 100% watertight, not 99.99%. So after 7 hours, it developed a small leak over here in the bottom front, and I took out all the water, you know, even took the fan, got it completely dry in here, and I found the problem. So there's two things going on with the silicone. One, there's the silicone that's going around the perimeter of the glass, and that's just a gasket. That's for the glass to push up against. And then the sealant is a second bead of silicone that comes down all the edges and actually gives you your watertight seal. So we have two problems. One, because this piece of glass was so hard to, I had it cut so tight that there wasn't a lot of tolerance to move it around while I was siliconing it, and I missed some spots down the bottom where there is silicone, but it's not a complete giant mass of silicone like at the top where there's just nothing going through there. There's actually a little channel where it didn't get silicone, and then over here on the edge there's a little spot where the bead wasn't done properly. So what ended up happening is a little bit of water after 7 hours leaked through that little channel and then kind of up in the middle there. So super slow leak, but you can't have any leaks at all. So here's the plan, I got a couple little tools that I think will help me get this fixed. So what I'll do is I'll poke a couple of little holes from the outside in the front and fill in those gaps where where I don't have a complete gasket, because the water pressure is pushing on it. You don't want to have an area where it's completely gasketed and then a part where there's a cavity where it can push a little further, because that can compromise your seal. So I'll fill all that in with more silicone, and then once I have a nice big fat gasket like at the top, I'll go ahead and peel off the silicone that's going around the edge and then just redo that. And yeah, let that cure, and we'll do a tank fill test part 2. Well, not like it needed to be proven again, but once again I have proven that I'm not perfect and I make mistakes when I do these builds. You know, unfortunately, there's no one to blame except for my assistant. It was her job to find my mistakes and let me know, and you failed me. If I paid you, you wouldn't be getting paid this week. You realize that, right? All right, she doesn't seem to care. All right, so I do make mistakes, but I also see how to fix this mistake. I have a very clear path of fixing this mistake, and I am persistent. So Predator Bay, slight setback, but this bad boy will get built, and it's going to get built soon. And yeah, we're going to get it fixed, and we're going to get this bad boy running.